Welcome to Football Scientific. Today we're going to continue our coverage of college football as we preview the 2025 season. Today we're focusing on the Conference USA. If you remember, earlier this week we talked about the MAC Conference, the Mid-American Conference, and really where it's heading and how it's looking and where it's going and who's going to win that conference. The Ohio University Bobcats, not the Toledo Rockets. Okay, but today we're breaking into the Conference USA. Okay, the Conference USA has changed a lot over the years. But we're going to talk about that now. But first, I'm going to introduce my co-host, Tyler Tiger. Tyler Tiger here, feeling good. Ready to talk about Conference USA. Let's go USA, USA, USA Conference. Okay, all right, good. All right, so first, when this conference first started in the late 90s, mid-90s or so, I was a big follower of it because I enjoyed watching the old Metro Football League, okay, Metro Football Conference, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it was really a conference, but it had Florida State, Cincinnati, Louisville, Georgia Tech. It had a bunch of pre-ACC teams in it. Okay, you had Memphis, Houston, you had Cincinnati, Southern Miss. Okay, they were in it. There was a 6-team league. It was Metro Football Conference was like the 12-team league, especially in basketball. I think it's 8 teams in football. Okay, but then Florida State went to ACC. Boop, Georgia Tech. Boop, went to ACC. Okay, Georgia Tech first, and then Florida State second before they dominated the ACC for a while. Okay, so we were left with 6 teams, and they ended up dissolving the Metro Football Conference, which never really officially became a thing, and created Conference USA. As everyone went to bigger conferences, those teams were left behind. Houston was left behind from the Southwest Conference dissolving and became part of the Metro Football Conference, and then Conference USA, Cincinnati, Louisville, Memphis, Southern Miss. They were all left behind as teams transitioned from the Metro Football Conference to larger conferences, leaving behind teams like Cincinnati. I'm a big Cincinnati fan, so that was important to me. Okay. Then over the years, they started adding teams, UAB and several others. They added TCU, SMU, I believe, for a little bit. They was adding teams, and then when all this conference realignment business started, and people started spreading out everywhere, okay, the Bearcats, UCF, Louisville, they all went to the Big East, which was a cool time for Cincinnati because the Big East, you know, was once an awesome conference with Miami and all those teams in it, but Virginia Tech and Syracuse and stuff. But then they became ACC. So then Cincinnati got a chance to go to the Big East. They won the Big East championship. They went to the Orange Bowl with Brian Kelly leading them. And the Conference USA was left with things like Memphis, Houston, UAB, a couple other teams, okay, and then South Florida. Okay, and then I think South Florida's in the Big East as well. So then they also, they were sitting there to start adding teams. Now, where did they add teams from? I think they added Marshall from the MAC. So that's one thing they added. At that time, Conference USA was a step up from the MAC. I see a lot of debate right now on whether the MAC is the lowest conference in FBS football right now or Conference USA. I would stay with the MAC. I kind of went over to the MAC first. I think they're the lowest conference. They're the most transition conference. You don't go to the MAC to be a superstar. You go to the MAC for a proving ground. You go there as a coach to prove that you can recruit, that you can coach, that you can put together a staff, you can prove yourself at the FBS level, and you jump to a higher place. With NIL, you go to the MAC and you jump to a higher level, Power 4. Okay, Conference USA has really become that too. And that's what the group of 6 teams have really, you know, those conferences have really defined themselves as that. And they should accept that as that they're the teams that are lower budget. They got a lower budget. They're not committed to the big budgets, which is okay. They're not committed to collective bargaining. They're not, you know, they're going to give people contracts and stuff like that. They just want to play major college football, okay? But they're a transition. Okay, you go to Conference USA, you start coaching up your team. You're not going to stay in Conference USA. You're going to win, and move on somewhere else. So you're going to lose, and go to FCS or Division II, or you're done and go to high school for job security purposes. Players are going to come to Conference USA, stay a year or two. If they dominate, they're going to bounce somewhere else to a power conference where they can get paid more. That's kind of where we're at. Remember I said last time college football has really become a form of pro football. And that's true. It's happened to be right now. It's pro football where you got to go to college too, which I like. I enjoy going to college. If you got several degrees, so and I play college football. I enjoy playing college football as well. So that's the idea is that people are constantly transitioning now as teams move up to the power conferences. They create space for teams from like the FCS. They start moving into FBS football, and they fill up teams like the Conference USA. So that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing a lot of transition as teams go up, Power 4, and it leaves holes in the group of 6, and then they add more people in there. Okay, they add more teams in there, give more teams opportunity, and eventually what you'll end up seeing will be those teams transitioning as well. So in a little transition, and they'll become Power 4 teams, and continues. Unless the system gets blown up and started over. It might get started over sometime. But right now, that's the flow we're in. So Conference USA is still an interesting conference, but it's now interesting not so much because, it's those leftover teams that I was a big fan. I loved the Metro League. I loved Conference USA at the time. Okay? But now Conference USA has become like a testing ground for FCS schools. If you're an FCS school and you're not sure if you can make it, no one's offering you a conference, you're not sure if you can hang with the big boys, you go to Conference USA, you fight for respect, you battle, and now it looks like the next step is to go to the Sun Belt Conference. Okay? Now, Sun Belt used to be lower in Conference USA, but right now it looks like teams are going from Conference USA to the Sun Belt. They're going from Conference USA to Mountain West. They're going from Conference USA to the Pac-12. Okay? So they're moving through Conference USA to the higher leagues, and that's good. That's healthy for college football, I think. That means you're growing the game. You're expanding the power conferences. And the group of 6 is the portal that teams pass through to go into Power 4 football. I'm not sure if they like that. I'm not sure if they wanted to be like the UFL. Like the UFL wants to be as freestanding league, but really they're just a portal for coaches and players to go in and get a chance and earn their way into the NFL, CFL, into something different, okay? It pays more, hopefully. Has more room for growth. Conference 2 is kind of like that for college football. Teams are getting into it. Players go to it. It's a great place for high school players. As the Power 4 recruit primarily off the transfer portal. Okay, if you're a high school player, you want to go to a Conference USA school. You want to get on the field. You want to prove what you got, and then you can work your way up to the big money. If you're not just a home run player, in high school. So it's a good place for high school players to jump in, do their thing. It's a good place for lower end coaches to jump in and do their thing. Trent Dilfer is at UAB. It's just a good proving ground. It's a good fun conference for that. And it's not as wide open as I'd like to see a conference be. I'd like to see conferences be crazy, points-wise and lack of defense. That doesn't sound like fun football, but it is. I like offensive football, although I am currently a defensive coordinator. Okay, so that's what the Conference USA looks like. It's a transition. It's still, as teams are going to leave it in the near future. So Kennesaw State, there's 12 teams in the Conference USA currently. There's 12 teams. For me, in my power rankings, Kennesaw State Owls, they recently moved from FCS. They were created like 6 years ago. They became a team maybe 10 years ago by now. They worked their way up to the FCS. They moved to Conference USA. Okay, they're not an FBS team. Full scholarships doing their thing. They're not a great team though. Kennesaw State, 73% of offensive players returned. They were an option team. I hope they still are. I have to watch some games. I haven't watched any recently of Kennesaw State. They were a fun little option team, though, very similar to Georgia Tech was when they had Paul Johnson as their head coach. They have lost a couple of their. They lost a quarterback and they lost a wide receiver. So their offense is going to be hurt some there. They're not going to play big play activity they had, but they have some defensive players. They had a defensive back, Tyler Hallam, and a defensive end, Donovan Westmoreland. Okay, so Kennesaw State loses some offense. They gain some defense. They are still kind of transitioning into FBS football, so they're not in a great spot to be a dominant team and football right now in FBS football. I'm not sure why they transitioned. They're in such a dense area. You got Georgia Tech, Georgia State, all around Atlanta there. It's hard to compete for athletes, honestly. You got to find their niche, I guess. Their niche. Okay. So with Kennesaw State, their offense should be on the downtrend. Boop. Defense on the uptrend. Boop. They're going to have a chance to get better. I think Kennesaw State will not be great, but they'll have a chance to win 3 out of 8 games in the Conference USA. I think they'll win 3-5. In Conference USA, they'll upset some teams. There's a lot of some people view Conference USA as better than the MAC because the high-end teams, the top 2 teams are better than the MAC top-end teams. So that's where you would separate this conference. Otherwise, it's very similar. You have a lot of low-end teams that are working their way up, and then you have a few top-end teams that can beat anybody. Okay, Kennesaw State is the team's working its way up. 3-5 is my prediction for them. 4-8 overall for the season is where I think they're going to be. They got, as far as I can tell, everyone says they have 0 chance to make the bowl game. So, I mean, they're not working for that. That'd be your next goal. You're FBS, you're competing, you're winning games. Now you got to work for a bowl game. You're only at 4-8. You're only 2 games away from making to a bowl game, so it's pretty good. Okay, number 11, a big drop. New Mexico State Aggies over the last couple of years have really been surprising. They beat Auburn a couple of years ago. Their quarterback left though, Diego Pavia, and went to Vanderbilt along with their head coach Jerry Kill. Jerry Kill's no longer in New Mexico, and I think they're suffering the effects of Jerry Kill leaving. Jerry Kill's a very good coach. Was at Southern Illinois, was at Minnesota, as a seizure issue. But New Mexico State turned that program around after being a doormat for a long time. Even Hal Mumme could not turn that program, but Jerry Kill did. But now they've lost a lot of players. They're going to feel that transition, okay? Coaches moving up to the SEC. That's where Jerry Kill ended up as a consultant. Diego Pavia coming to the SEC is stepping up, looking to improve his stock overall for the NFL, okay? Mexico State is one of those transition teams. I've seen several sources that have them as one of the top teams in Conference USA, but right now I don't see that. They did add quarterback Logan Fife. They did lose their top running backs. They lost their top running backs. And they're a grinded out team. Okay, they're very similar to a MAC team. They want to grind the ball. They want to complete some RPOs. They want to throw some pangs and passes. That's how New Mexico State, the Aggies, rolls on. Kennesaw State, the Owls. I got New Mexico State going 3-5 in the Conference USA this year, not upsetting some teams, probably beating Kennesaw State, maybe not. It could go either way. They're going 5-7 overall, number 11 in Conference USA. I got them at a 37.7% chance to make a bowl. I mean, they could go on a winning streak. I don't think so. I don't think they're well built for that right now. Okay, number 10. Number 10 in the Conference USA is the new FCS team, Delaware Blue Hens. Now, Delaware's been a very consistent. They have never really been a dominant team in the FCS level, but they've been a consistent team in the FCS level. And they have the wing tee offense was originally made there and stuff. I mean, they're going to transition to FBS football. I think it's going to be a tough transition compared to Delaware is a 7-win team. I think it's going to be a bit of a rough transition, but not horrible. Okay, they have good defense. They have a good defense, and they have a solid running back. Okay, solid running back, good defense. That's going to give you a chance to compete in a bunch of games at any level. Bad news is they lost their quarterback, and that they got to look for a quarterback now. And they have a cornerback. They added Keaton Justice or whatever. Okay, so Delaware Blue Hens. I got them going 3-5. 5-7 in their first year in Conference USA, and I think they could. I got them a 38% chance to make a bowl. They only have to beat one other team to make a bowl. Could happen. It'd be crazy though in their transition year. But James Madison did stuff like that. They were awesome. Okay, Middle Tennessee State. Boom. Number 9 is Middle Tennessee State. They've had some ups. They've had some big offense in Middle Tennessee State. Boom, right now they add quarterback. They have a quarterback coming back, threw for over 3,000 yards the last couple of years. They have a linebacker, Alex Mitchell, coming in. They have their quarterback back. That's a huge piece of their offense. He did not lead to a better place. No offense, Middle Tennessee State. They have lost their top wide receiver, though, so that's going to cut into their offensive production. Defensively, they added linebacker Alex Mitchell. I think they've always been kind of a middle-of-the-road team, Conference USA. They've had explosive offense and a shady defense, and they shoot teams out, and they lose a lot of times in those shootouts. But they're competitive in their conference. I think they beat Miami a couple years ago. The Hurricanes, which is probably more of descriptive of Miami. It's more of an indictment of Miami's current state than it is about Middle Tennessee being awesome. But I think Middle Tennessee State will go. The Blue Raiders will go 4-4 in Conference USA and go 5-7 overall, and they have a 43.2% chance to make the bowl game, and they should make a bowl game if they can win 6 games, which I don't have them do it. I got them winning 5 games. Okay, UTEP Miners, they're getting ready to move on to the Mountain West next year. This will be the last year in Conference USA. They have added a couple quarterbacks. They added a wide receiver, Kenny Odom. They've added, he has a lot of speed, a lot of vertical speed. They've added a couple quarterbacks from power conference schools, so they're loaded on offense for the most part. They have lost a lot of their defense, though, so they're looking to come and shoot it out and put up highest points and do that. They're probably going to be like the Cincinnati Bengals of the Conference USA. Okay, so UTEP, and they've always been kind of known for big offense and not great defense, and that's where they're at still. UTEP, I guess they got an identity. Okay, they got an identity down at El Paso where they want to put up some big points, and they don't care about how many points to give up. Okay, so I say with that, that's not a winning recipe. That's not going to win a lot of games, but it is entertaining, I guess. So UTEP, I got them going 4-4 in Conference USA and 5-7 overall, just barely missing a bowl game. 45% chance to make a bowl game. I got them just missing it right now. Number 7 in our FCS school, Missouri State Bears. They are joining Conference USA. They have a quarterback, Jacob Clark, returning, so they didn't lose their quarterback, which is nice. They have lost a lot of defensive players. Okay, they've lost a bunch of defensive players, but they do have a running back, Shami Lawrence or whatever. Okay, so it looks like they're going to be good on offense. This is going to be a UTEP story. They're going to be good on offense and not good on defense, and they're going to come out and they're going to, what are they going to do? They're going to go 4-4 in Conference USA, 5-7 overall. You can't shoot out every game and win Conference USA. You got to play some defense, okay? But you can beat some of the teams that way just by outscoring them. They have a lower chance of making a bowl at 35.9, so they have less potential to get that 6th win from 5-7 than the other teams do. Okay? All right, halfway through Conference USA. Next, for International Panthers. At times, they've been getting better. You know, Pitbull's a big donor for them. You would think they'd get better with Pitbull out there trying to market for them. Get some players in NILs and do their thing. But here's what they've kind of floundered always. For the International Panthers, they added running back Aju Allen. They added a quarterback, Keon Jackson, who's is coming back. He did not train. He was going to transfer to Georgia Tech, but decided not to. But his 2 receivers did, Eric Rivers and Dan something or other. They go to Georgia Tech. They have to keep the quarterback, though, and they got a good running back, which means they're going to be able to run the ball. Another question is going to be, who's going to be catching passes? Are you going to have any big play potential? Okay, and I'm going to think that they may or may not. Okay, I don't see much about defense going on here, so I feel like they're a team that wants to come and shoot it out again. They want to put up high scores. That should make it a fun league to keep track of, but it's not conducive to making bowl game, not conducive to winning the conference. So I have Florida International Panthers, sponsored by Pitbull, to go 4-4 in Conference USA, and total go 5-7. They're just going to miss a bowl game, just barely. Okay, number 5, Sam Houston State recently moved up from the FCS. Okay, the Bearcats, spelled with a T, B-A-R-K-A-T-S. Okay, they're a solid team. They're not a great team, but they're a solid team. They have an offensive lineman. They've added James Dean III. They have who's a good pass protector. They have a linebacker who's a good pass rusher. That should put them in a pretty good spot. And Conference USA with all these big offenses and not good defenses. They seem to have a lot of defensive playmakers. They also have a quarterback coming back. 2 quarterbacks coming back. One's from Wisconsin, Malby Matu, and he's going to be competing with their current quarterback. They're trying to compete. That's going to make their offense better, I believe. And they do have some defense, which is why they're at number 5. They got a chance to be pretty good, okay? If they can just put some pieces together. They do lose a major edge rusher, Chris Murray, and that's going to hurt them. So while they added a linebacker that is a good pass rusher, they lost the edge rusher. Having both probably would have worked out pretty well, but losing one and gaining one probably cancels out. They do have a better quarterback. I do expect to put some points up. In Conference USA, I have them going 4-4, and overall I'm going 5-7. 41.7% chance they're a win away. He's got to come do a thing. Okay, number 4, new addition. No, A new addition to the Sun Belt Conference after this year will be Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. They're leaving Conference USA for Sun Belt. So they're trying to get more local rivalries and stuff, I guess. There's a lot of local rivalries in the Conference USA. They're trying to get more TV money. Sun Belt, the Fun Belt, get some more TV money in Conference USA. Probably because a lot of people view Conference USA as the lowest conference. But really, I think it's the MAC. Okay, Louisiana Tech, they have a tradition for doing some good things. They've never been great, but they've always been kind of a giant killer along the way. Terry Bradshaw went there. Skip Holtz spent some time there before moving on to Birmingham and the UF Bell. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a linebacker coming to Colby Penny, coming to Louisiana Tech. We have a quarterback from Hunter Winston coming to Louisiana Tech. You got Edwin Champion leaving Tech. They have offensive lineman coming to Georgia Tech, Jonathan Dennis. Okay, so overall, what are they going to be? They're going to be a solid offense, solid defense. Not great either, just middle of the road. Not as good as the best offenses in the conference, say, but a better defense, and a better defense will help you win games. Okay, so with that in mind, Louisiana Tech on their last year in Conference USA, I have them going 4-4 in Conference USA, and I have them going 6-6 overall. I think they will weak non-conference schedules. I think they will go to a bowl game, 58.5, and it'll be good momentum to win that bowl game, and then move on to the Sun Belt from there. Okay. Number 3, Jacksonville State Gamecocks, another FCS school that just became FBS a couple years ago, but I think they won a bowl game last year. Okay, and they've beaten Florida State before. I mean, they're legit. So Jacksonville State Gamecocks from Alabama, not from Florida. Okay, they had a quarterback, they had a running back, Cam Cook. They've lost some defensive players. They've lost Rich Rodriguez as their head coach. That's probably going to hurt more than anything. It's not having Rich Rodriguez as their head coach. They lost the offensive guard. Okay, I think losing Rich Rod, who's described by many being an offensive genius in the RPO world, that's going to hurt a lot. I think it's going to dip some. They were almost the conference championship last year. Did they win the conference last year? Maybe. They played against Western Kentucky in the conference championship game, and they had a chance to really do some things. And they were really good. Yeah, they were really good. But Rich Rod's gone. He went back to West Virginia, so he got what he wanted. He transitioned back to a Power 4 school, which is what he was hoping to do, and that's what you're hoping to do in Conference USA. Jacksonville State Gamecocks won't be horrible, won't be great. I have them going 4-4 in Conference USA and 6-6 overall. And I do have them with 61.5% chance of playing in a bowl game. They're better than the others, but not as good as the best. Okay, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, former FCS Power. Now this is kind of an anomaly in FBS. A high-scoring offense, not great defense, very similar to the rest of the in the Conference USA. So it makes for exciting football. I got a quarterback, Miriam McIver going to Western Kentucky. We got 50 players left. They had to replace 50 players this year. That's huge, and they had to replace their offensive defensive coordinator. They're one of the top teams in Conference USA last year, but they replaced 50 players, so hit hard by the transfer portal. That means they were good. When you're good in Conference USA, you're going to be hit hard by the transfer portal, okay? A lot of people picking off your players. You're poaching your players, okay? They did get 2 coordinators poached, offensive defensive coordinator. But usually if you're getting a lot of players poached, players that want to go play for you because they want to be poached next, okay? So you're going to get more players that want to play for real football, play big-time football. So I think Western Kentucky will be better than many. They'll be 5-3 in Conference USA. They'll be 7-5 overall. That's our first winning team in Conference USA. A lot of parity in this conference. Western Kentucky will play some defense. They will be explosive on offense. They will be solid as a team. They will win some games. They will lose some games, okay, that they're supposed to win. They'll be 5-3 overall. 5-3 Conference USA and 7-5 overall. They will make a bowl game, 80.5. I guarantee they'll make a bowl game. They have a high standard for themselves, but they'll be number 2. They'll be playing for a conference championship against number 1. Number 1 is the Liberty Flames. Liberty Flames in the first year in the conference 2 years ago. Came out on fire, no pun intended for the Flames, but they came out on fire. They dominated. They had a quarterback, Malik, something around the place for the Packers now. Came out and really did some things. He was a Heisman candidate and stuff. Won the conference, made a big bowl game, and did the thing. Almost made it to a big bowl game, like not playoffs, but BCS type bowl, I guess they call it now. Okay, so Liberty Flames, they have stacked their roster on defense. They had defensive back Brylan Green, linebacker Joseph Curtis. They have CJ Daniel as their defensive player of the year for Conference USA. He's back. They added a wide receiver, Cutter Lanes. They have lost their top running back, which is going to hurt. I believe they'll reload at that. They're kind of like Western Kentucky. They've got a good reputation now. They're a winning team. Liberty Flames, they played pretty good football. They got a Conference USA championship. They played in a major bowl game and won. So they got a chance. They got their upward momentum. They're bouncing back from a bad season last year where they ended up being third in the conference. And they should be the top team in the Conference USA this year, Liberty Flames. Boom, I got them going 6-2. Best record in Conference USA, 9-3 overall. And I have them a 93.7% chance to go to a bowl game. Also, I have Western Kentucky and Liberty Flames playing in the conference championship game, and I got Liberty winning that. Okay, I got Liberty winning that conference championship. Okay, in terms of bowl games, now there was not a lot of bowl eligible teams. They have a lot of potential bowl tie-ins. They have 4 bowl tie-ins that are locked up. Okay, so they got Bahamas Bowl, Hawaii Bowl, New Orleans Bowl, and Frisco Bowl. Okay, they have a bunch of other ones that they can fill if teams don't have enough eligible teams, and Venture Bowl and stuff like that, that they could fill. I don't think they'll have extra bowl eligible teams, honestly. So here's what I predict will happen. I got about in the Bahamas Bowl, Liberty going to play in that. They'll be the best team in the Bahamas Bowl. They will win that game. They'll go 1-1. Okay, 1-0 in bowls. Hawaii Bowl, Western Kentucky will go to that. They'll play a Mountain West team, and they will fail. They will fail. Big offense, their defense. They will put an entertaining game and fail. It'll be 1-1. New Orleans Bowl, Jacksonville State, I believe, will go there and get a win. Boop. Okay, and then in the Frisco Bowl, which is very, Frisco Bowl. It's Frisco, Texas, not Frisco, San Francisco. So that's good for Louisiana Tech. They're going to go to Frisco Bowl, and I think they'll win. Boop. And I think they'll go 3-1 in bowl games. Boop. And that's why they're above the MAC, who I had going 4-4. So 3-1, 75% win percentage, and 4-4 is 50%. I think Conference USA, it's a league of transitions. It's never going to be a stable league. It's always going to be a transition league. If you're a team that wants to compete for national championship, you're not going to stay in Conference USA. Okay? You're not going to stay there. You're going to move up. So that's planned. Liberty will probably move up in a couple of years, honestly, if they want to put in the money. As a religious college, I don't know if they want to put in the money for big time football, but if they do, they'll probably move up. All right, that's our breakdown of Conference USA and our predictions. Hope you enjoyed it, and if not, whatever, who cares? But also check out our articles on footballannouncement.com about the NFL and CFLnewshub.com for the CFL. And then like the channel, boop, like the video, boop, subscribe to the channel. Boop, we got more college football coming up. We're going to cover every FBS conference before college football starts.